All right, this is Cam Talks to Cam. Who am I here with right now?
Cena Haddad.
Cena, what do you do?
I am an independent journalist, and I cover a lot of entertainment journalism as well as just some more personal stories as well.
Heck yeah. What's like a current project you're working on as a journalist? Like, what are you working on? What are you doing?
I like to interview a lot of independent artists, try to give them their own little spotlight and find out more about their stories. So, like, I have one coming up with somebody named Lexi Nguyen, who was actually recommended to me by somebody who had done an interview with just 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, okay.
So it's like I'm slowly making connections through the people that I'm meeting, which I think is really cool. But I did one recently with Adrian Milano, and he's slowly coming up in the music industry, and I think his music is incredible, especially after like diving into it deeper to do the interview with him. He's a very genuine person. He likes to keep things simple, but also, how do I explain this? Like a lot of his music was more about like love and relationships. And what I thought was so interesting was like he didn't talk about like the normal things you would hear in music nowadays. He likes to talk about the little moments. He would tell me stuff like, I would rather I love the little moments where it's like, instead of planning this whole day, it's, oh, unfortunately we get stuck in traffic, but then we're sitting there for 20 minutes talking and just getting to know each other. He's like, I enjoy those moments sometimes more than the actual big thing.
Yeah.
So he'll write about like little things like that, and I thought that was so beautiful. And it ended up being one of my favorite interviews. So then we ended up connecting, and then he slowly was like, I really enjoyed my conversation with you, and I think some of my friends would enjoy speaking with you as well and having an interview. Would you be interested? And I'm like, I will interview anyone.
That's
like,
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm like, I love talking to all different kinds of people. I don't care what genre of music. If you're
Yeah.
doing something, I want to know about it.
Yeah, so this like love for the intricacies and like the minute details, why do you find it so fascinating, especially about music itself? Like,
So I've loved music since I was younger. It's always been my escape. Like, I started off in church choir. I did choir in school. I've always written like song lyrics here and there just as like my own little diary type of thing. And a lot of times when I listen to music, I never listen to it in a fact of like, oh, this sounds cool, I like it. I always wait to hear the lyrics before deciding whether or not I like it. I've always been into like deeper meaning and like finding out like what is the artist trying to say and can I connect to it? Because when I'm able to make that connection, to me it's like, okay, this is one of my new favorite songs. Just because it's like, I'm like, if I'm sitting there and I'm like, I listen to it and I feel like my eyes well up with tears, to me I'm like, okay, they did something. This is why I like it so much. Like, I'm able to feel something. I like music that lets you feel something. You know what I mean?
yeah, and would you say essentially like the goal, since you do a Substack and that's like the main
Yeah.
article of something that somebody can go and look at your work,
Mm-hmm.
is the goal of that Substack to basically allow a person to better understand this music artist, to connect with them, but more because of the art? Like, my question I guess is, have you found an artist to be underrated because they weren't properly showcased, like in a way to really understand them better? Like, have you ever found that to be the case?
I do actually. I think that there are a couple people that I have interviewed where it's like they may not be as popular just because they don't want to go and like sell themselves in
Yeah.
a sense. You know what I mean? Like, there was one that I did with lovely lady. Her name was Naham Nakrur. And she's Middle Eastern, so
That's
that
a
alone was
beautiful
really cool,
name.
right? She has the most beautiful soul. Like, when we were sitting and talking, like, I felt like I was talking to like one of my best friends. Like, she was the sweetest thing ever. And when she was talking, like, everything that she talked about, she was like, I want to talk about real love. I want to talk about just stuff that I've been through in the past, because she's Middle Eastern and she's also from a Middle Eastern country rather than America. So to her, she's been through a lot of different things than you would see here. So she would write about stuff like that. Like, she'd write about some of the tragedies that happened there and put her, like, how she felt about it into her music. And those would become like some of her most successful songs. And I'm like, of course, because this is the deeper ones. Like, this is what people love to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it's what I love to hear. So it's just like, I feel like one of the main reasons that she hasn't become as popular as she should is literally because, one, she's not in America. So it's probably like, when I posted about her interview, a lot of the people that were showing support were people from Middle Eastern countries. It wasn't a lot of people from America. It was just like I was getting so many foreign comments, like everything in Arabic and Egyptian and all this kind of stuff. Like,
heck yeah,
and I'm
okay.
like putting it
Impact.
into Google Translate.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. Like,
Yeah.
like she has some amazing supporters, but she's not getting as big as she wants to be because she's just like, she knows that she wants to take it slow and just continue doing what she loves. And she also just recently got married, so I'm like, heck yeah, good for you, girl. But like she said this one line in the interview that like stuck with me. She was like, I don't need to get into somebody's bed for them to know how I'm feeling.
Whoa.
And I like my jaw dropped. I was like,
Whoa.
yes, like this is the stuff that I love to hear. Especially coming from like such a religious background. Like this is something that I've always believed in as well, you know? So when she said that, it was like an immediate connection. I was like, you have like, you're such a beautiful soul. She has so much respect for herself. Like she's not willing to like go and do all these crazy things to get famous. She's like, you know, when God wants it to happen, it's going to happen. And I'm like, you know what, good for you.
Yeah, how does religion play a role into the things that you create? Because I feel like a lot of artists that I've met, like in my life that I've worked with, because, you know, I do the videography, photography, and everything. Yeah. Like, I think that they drive a lot of their influence from things that will bring them closer to God. Like, have you found that to be the case or anything?
I have actually. There are a couple people that I have interviewed, and there was one actually that I just recently did. His name is Sue Lane.
Sue Lane.
Sue Lane. Yes,
that rolls off that tongue. Like
it does. I'm pretty sure he's Korean, and we just did an interview, and his music is he creates his own type of like Christian music, like Christian pop in a sense. And it's just when I was listening to his music, it's like you can tell how deeply he believes. And like his faith was so beautiful to hear. And just the stuff that he would say, the lyrics that he used, it's just like he's like, you know, I praise you and I have no shame for it. And I was it's like, you know what I mean? So he would sit there and tell me like, you know, this is he's always been like my biggest inspiration, so why wouldn't I talk about it? I'm like, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
And then, like, so with everything you're creating and, like, you have all these people that you're, you know, interviewing and such, like, is there anything that you've learned from the people that you've interviewed that you're now, like, implementing to your brand, to your Substack that will better it going forward? Like, is there anything that you've noticed that you're now implementing?
Honestly, yes. There was one that stuck out with me. Her name is Asiane. She was actually one of the first ones that I did. I think she was, like, the third interview I did.
Okay.
Very sweet girl, and her music is very beautiful, well put together. She's an R&B artist, and when we were talking, she always told me, she was like, we came from a similar background of a sense of like, you know, we love the parents, but sometimes they don't always understand what you want to do. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. So then they kind of look at it as like, why don't you just go get a job instead of trying to make it somewhere that's like a 1 in a million type of chance.
Yeah.
And she was like, I didn't start telling them about what I was doing until I slowly gained a platform. And then once they realized like, oh, she can do this, that's when they started showing support. And she always said, she was like, sometimes it's better to just do things in silence and be yourself while doing it. Because if you're not showing your true colors, like people are not gonna be able to connect with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought that was so beautiful. And from there, it was like, when I was writing my articles, you know, when I first started, I was like, oh, I need to make this sound so professional. I need to make it sound so like cool, like something crazy. But then, you know, when you start hearing stuff like that and everyone's telling you like, you need to just be yourself. Like if you have a voice, you got to use it. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? You're right. So now it's like, I don't stress as much about it because I know what I can write. So I do it from like my perspective. Like I want to use my voice in my articles. And then it's like, if I need to edit some things here and there, that's fine. But I wanted to make sure that like when you read it, it's like, oh yeah, this sounds like something she would say. That's
beautiful. Like, you know, never change for anybody. Yes. And like, obviously there's times when you have to like filter yourself in some cases.
Yes, of course.
Right? Yeah. You're not blurting out some crazy stuff
right.
in the middle of like a freaking Costco or whatever. I don't know. But like, I feel like that's like a big thing that I've touched on recently, like a few of the videos I've made. Like vulnerability, without that vulnerable factor mixed with the authenticity, like people will just read right through you, nor will they connect with you, nor will any progression will be made, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, without vulnerability, the fact is you're a closed off individual.
Absolutely.
And not allowing people in will not let them connect with you in any sense. So I love that.
That was honestly something I even learned from you. Yes, because when I did the interview with you, a lot of the stuff that you talked about was vulnerability and authenticity. And I thought that was incredible coming from somebody, because it's like, you're not a music artist. I was interviewing somebody in a completely different field, and it was still a similar theme of you need to be yourself, like be authentic authentically yourself,
Yeah,
be unapologetically yourself, and allow the other people that you're working with to do the same, because then you're not going to get the real story if you're not creating that environment for them.
Yeah.
And I thought that was incredible. Yes, that was one of the main takeaways I took away from my interview with you.
How do you feel in like the interviewing process? Because I know you do it virtually, you do it like maybe not right there in person, but is there any like strategy that you implement to allow the person to feel more comfortable to open up? Because I don't know like if your goal is necessarily to basically like learn who they are as a person or why they became, so successful in that specific niche that they're working in. Like, is there strategies that you implement to allow them to be their authentic self?
Honestly, I like to keep it simple. I don't like to go in and make it seem like it's some crazy professional thing. I start off, I greet, and then I immediately start talking about the things that I noticed that I loved.
Oh, okay.
Start off with like a compliment. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like build them up so that they're like, okay, like she really does like me. You know what I mean? A little bit, but she like she really is interested. Like she's not just doing it to do it. Like she really did look into my music for a minute and found something that she wanted to talk about.
For sure.
So then that starts like, you know what I mean?
I do know what
like
you're saying.
it happened with Adrian actually. When we first started talking, I immediately was like, these are some of the things that I loved about your music. Before we even get into the questions, like, let me tell you what I really loved. And he immediately was just like, I honestly, like the fact that you even went through and listened to my entire discography is so foreign to me.
And I feel that is such a necessary part in all the great interviewers, because like I think of an example like Sean Evans from Hot Ones.
I love him.
Beautiful soul. He has this way of like implementing things that because he does deep dive research into these people before, which I think why you'll have so much success going forward is because that is literally the antithesis of exactly what you're trying to present. You're literally trying to delve as deep as you possibly can to understand these artists in the most authentic way.
He was actually like one of my inspirations. I'm not even joking.
Oh, really?
He was, because it's just like there are so many journalists that I see nowadays where it's like they'll ask the same questions over and over. And then you kind of will see it on the artist's face. It's like, oh, I have to answer this again.
Yeah.
And then when you watch an interview with like somebody like him and he's asking a question that they've never heard before and they look at him like, whoa, like how did you know that? Or like how did you come up with something like that?
Yeah.
That's the feeling I want. Like that's when I get those reactions from them, because I've had some people be like, I've never had somebody ask me that before. Or like, oh my gosh, this feels so good to finally talk about. Like nobody's ever wanted to ask me that. To me, that's such an accomplishment, because it's like I came up with something that they are genuinely excited to speak about. And I think that's amazing. Yeah,
and like presenting that to the world. Currently, you have the Substack that you're presenting, and then you also post on Instagram like these little blurbs of exactly like the tiny things that you've said. Do you have any other strategies that you're trying to implement now that would better the brand so people will know that you are the most authentic interviewer for musicians ever? Like, do you have any strategy?
I really want to start recording them.
Okay.
I feel like that would be my next step.
Yeah.
I've never been like crazy tech savvy,
okay.
So it's like I'm trying I'm trying to find like some people to help me with that, like some resources. It's always okay to ask for help, guys.
For sure.
But and I've even had so many people say like, it sounds amazing in writing, but like if you did it on video, I feel like it would be even cooler.
Yeah.
It's like to see their authentic reaction on the screen of like, oh, when you asked this and they looked at you like, wow, like I want to see that. Or if I write like, oh, and they started to get emotional talking about this, it's like, let me see that emotion on their face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be something really cool to start getting into. I just need to figure out how.
Do you think like, okay, so think of like the best interviews that you've seen. What do you notice that they've implemented that really made their interview stand out in your mind? Like, obviously you're going to be the interviewer. What would be the takeaway from other people's interviews? And you could be specific, like ones that you've seen. Like, is there any takeaways from them?
Honestly, it's the ones that do the research. It's the one that dive deeper to ask the questions. So like, I literally, because you were telling me about like how you were planning on saying something like this during it, and like from there I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, I have the perfect way to answer this. It's like, yeah. So it's just like, I'm a big BTS fan. Okay, so I've watched a lot of their interviews, and A lot of times when they go in for an interview, a lot of journalists, they ask the same questions over and over because it's like, they're a Korean pop group. Like, why would we want to go in and listen? Like, let's just ask them the basic stuff. Let's ask them about the English title tracks. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, what's your favorite song? Mine is Dynamite. And it's just like the most basic one in their discography. And it's especially because they literally started in 2013. So there's so much more to them that led up to just that one single that they released during COVID that they don't want to look into because it's like, oh, it's not English. Why would I want to? Who cares? You know, like music is so much more than language. Look it up. Like Google Translate is there for, or like translation apps are there for a reason. Look up the lyrics, figure out the deeper meaning behind it, figure out their story, and see what, you know, like really ask them, right? So then when I see that, there was a recent interview they did when they came back for their new album, Arirang. Masterpiece, by the way. Definitely recommend.
Yeah.
But they did an interview with Zane Lowe, and I believe he's with iTunes or Apple. But forgive me if I'm wrong on that. But he sat there and was like, "Oh yeah, some of my favorite tracks from the album. Like I loved Aliens, I loved Hooligan. Like he's naming all the tracks, and they're looking at him surprised. Like they're looking like, you listen to it." Like that is how often they get interviewers that will listen to one song and then leave it there and base all their questions on that. They were like, "Oh, you listened to the album?" He was like, "Well, of course I did. I mean, if I didn't, what else are we going to talk about here?" And it was like that genuine reaction on their face where it was like, I want that. You know what I mean? It's like it was just that made me like feel something that was like they finally felt like somebody wanted to know them. You know what I mean? They wasn't just, oh, you're successful. Oh, what collab do you want to do? Who cares about the collabs? Ask about them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, why are we bringing other people into the conversation? It's not about them. It's about who you're interviewing.
Yeah, do you feel, because I also think there is like an element where basically like, okay, you're getting interviewed by somebody, or you're the person interviewing somebody, and what you find is that the person that you're interviewing, who you thought was this like genuine music, like die hard, like this is their life, you actually find out it was pretty surface level. And I feel like a lot of artists might even be scared of that. Like I know a lot of people that, you know, are kind of just like kind of doing their thing, and they're not really like fully delving deep into that. And I think these uncomfortable, like more in-depth conversations that you'll be doing, you might find that people are not actually like super into their craft, but the people that are, that genuine, like holy, like you'll literally bring the greatness of somebody or the terribleness of somebody to the surface, right? Like no matter what happens, you're gonna show the most authentic, you know, the most them. And I think I want to ask, so what type of interview setting, like what do you think is the best type of setting for an interview? Is it like a podcast setting? Is it like, because obviously your outlet is a little bit different because you're just like virtual, like it's in wherever they're at. Like, do you know, have you ever thought about that, like for a perfect interview?
I actually think that some of the best interviews are literally just sitting down one-on-one. Like maybe it doesn't have to be like something like this where it's like, you know, cameras and microphones and all this crazy setup. Maybe it's just like how we did at your studio, just a casual sit down, and it's like you have like one camera, tiny mics, and you're just sitting and having a conversation. I think that's like such a cool setting because that's when people start to feel comfortable. It's like, it's not just some like crazy professional interview. It's, oh, this person wants to get to know me, so let's talk. And I think that's when they're able to bring out that authenticity. It's just like, you put them in a comfortable environment, you let them know like, hey, you are not going to be judged for what you say, so just speak your mind. And I think that's the best way to do it. And it's like, I hope to get to that point where it's like, oh, God willing, like I become like successful in my craft where I'm able to go travel to actually meet with these people, or these people want to travel to meet with me, so we can have these sit down talks instead of meeting up on Google Meet or meeting up on Zoom. You know what I mean? Because it's like every time I've had a conversation in person versus over Google Meet, it's still some beautiful way to connect with people, but you always feel just a little bit closer when you're actually face to face.
100.
You know what I mean?
And I think like, so even the studio that we're in now, by my friend Reece, this is his studio, this is where we're filming at, and him and you both have this characteristic about like, it's not necessarily, in my opinion, about the room, it is that person that's sitting in front of you. And like for Reece, for you, I think both of you have this like, I feel like at ease type of setting, and you create the room by being in front of somebody.
Aww,
you know what I'm saying?
That's so sweet.
And so like for both of those things, I think that is super important to be, as you are trying to do, be authentic, be present, and also, you know, do your research and really understand the person you're talking to, because at the end of the day, you're not there to use them. You're actually in some way there to kind of like, as you said, like let them be seen, right? Let themselves out in front of you, which is beautiful. Like I feel like a lot of people don't get to do that. They don't get to really talk. It's like therapy, you know?
And a lot of times, even when I am like requesting an interview from someone, like, hey, I've been listening to some of your stuff. I think you're really, really, like, really cool. I would love to interview you. Like, this is my page. Check me out. And I will say, like, I would love to help you promote. Like, I want to give you a platform to talk. Let's do it. It's not me saying like, oh, I'm running out of content. Can you like come sit and have a chat with me so I can talk about it? You know what I mean? It's more just like, you know, I took interest in you. I really like what you're doing. Let's sit and talk about it. You can tell me everything. Like, I don't care if we're sitting there for 3 hours. I want you to speak your mind. Like when I was sitting with Adrian, I had our interview set up for like 45 minutes to an hour. We ended up sitting there for an hour and a half because it was just like, he had so much to say, and it was just everything that he said meant something, and I thought it was incredible, like absolutely incredible. And he would be like, oh, I'm sorry if I'm talking too long. I'm like, no, please continue. Like, I love the long answers. I love when people like are comfortable enough to sit and open up to me and like give me all these like deeper thoughts, because not only is it like better for me to write on, you know, because now it's more for me to write on, but also it's just, that's what's real. Like, that's what I love to hear. It's, and like even like using him as an example, he's not only working in the music industry, he's also a professor. So he would sit there and talk about like relations between being in the education field and also in the music industry. And because I asked him this question, and it was just the way he answered it was so beautiful. I was just like, you know, do you ever relate your art in the classroom? Like, do you ever find a way to kind of like take what you do with your music and put it into the classroom? And he was like, I've always looked at teaching as another creative form of art. Like, I want to be able to come into class and keep my students engaged and make sure that they know that I'm not just there to make money. I'm there because I love what I'm doing and I love connecting with my students. I'm not, you know, it's like, he's like, there are some teachers that I met that they make it so obvious that they're just there for the paycheck. But I go in and I enjoy what I do, and I want to make my lessons engaging, and I look at it in a sense of, you know, when I'm creating these lesson plans, this is something that I can do. Like, this is something I have control over. So let me be creative with it. And it's just like when I go into my music, when I'm writing a song, when I'm creating the production, this is what I have control of. So let me be creative with it. And I'm like, that was incredible. You know what I mean? I was like, that's such a cool way to look at it, because I also have experience in the education field. Like, I've done substitute teaching, I've done tutoring since I was a teenager. Like, and to this day I still do it, just like, you know, extra side hustle, why not? And it's just, it took me like a hot second to even look at it the way that he was, because I'm like, you know, when I create my lesson plans, I never looked at it as like, wow, I really am creating these based off of not only what the students like, but how I can make it interesting. Because he's so right, it is something creative. Because if you go in and create this boring lesson, it's just like you lecturing the whole time, aren't those the most boring classes? You know what I mean? When you're just sitting there and listen to them ramble on and on and on. Those are always the ones that I would have the most trouble with.
No interaction whatsoever. It's just like yap sesh.
Yes, it's just a lecture section. And it's just like, when I had those classes, those are the ones that I would struggle with the most, because then I'm just sitting there like trying to focus. I'm like falling asleep. I'm like, oh my gosh, like ask us something or give us something to do. But when I create my lessons, I'm just like, how can I make the student speak more than me, first off, and also have activities to where not only do they get to do it with me, but also on their own, and we can discuss it after, and then I can tell them what good they did, because I don't like focusing on just the bad. Obviously, if there's some critique, I'm going to give them critique. That's how you learn.
I like what you said, like the letting them speak more, because in reality, the person that's speaking more has less of that control. And in reality, like as a teacher, you should have control over the students in the terms of like being that figurehead that they can come to essentially like be that guru in their mind that they'll ask questions to. Because if they're unable to think of you, if they don't respect you and they don't think of you as the leader, in all honesty, it's hard to learn from somebody like that. Like for me personally, I think you can learn from everyone.
Absolutely.
I think everyone in your life can teach you something, whether it's by good, whether it's by bad. But in reality, the respect aspect has to come in for you to trust that. Like even if I hated somebody, right? Like I hated them as a person. If I respect that they are doing this type of work, or they're really good at this, like I'll respect that aspect about them, and that's the piece that I'll learn from that. Respecting an entire person is completely different. Like I respect you highly as a person in all aspects, right? So like I will listen to your judgment no matter what, but in most cases, like I'll meet somebody and it's like, okay, like you don't do this, you don't do that, and I'm like, I don't know if I could really like understand that, but what I do respect is that you are a good father or something like that, right? Like I respect that. Like you can't deny, like you're great. So I think my question would be to you is like, do you believe that the interviewing aspect will, like, how do you formulate to give respect to somebody in an interview properly so that they can better like delve to what they want to say and what they want to lead it to? Like essentially, like how do you show respect for somebody in an interview process? Like do you have like a strategy behind that or anything?
Honestly, the way I go about it is very simple. A lot of things I've learned just like from because I was a communication major in college, right?
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that I learned from there was just when you want people to know that you are like respectfully listening to them, just kind of give those little movements, give those little signs like, oh yeah, like, absolutely, kind of nod along, let them know like, I know exactly what you're talking about. And then afterwards also, after they're done answering, I'll put in a little bit of input as well. That way they know like, oh, she heard everything I just said and she even has a response to it. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're saying.
So it's like even like when because I brought up with tutoring how I try to let the students speak more than me, I do the same with my interviews. You know, it's like, yeah, I'll come up with a whole crazy question, but it's like I want it to be a question to where they're sitting down and they can talk about it for the next like 5 to 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to do like a close-ended question like, oh, so what's your favorite song? Ooh. That's so, that's boring.
You did just make me think of something. So like I feel, it's funny. I was just thinking about something. I feel like to the point of why interviews are so surface level is because in reality, they're leading for that clippable content, right? And I think there is strategy behind that because obviously, like, if you get a good clip and you do good, like, it's going to benefit your page and get out to more people. But, I mean, unironically and ironically, like it's gonna be really unauthentic because you're not actually asking something that the person in front of you really wants to hear. And I think we're noticing the brand fatigue is what I'm calling it. A big like headline piece, brand fatigue, and seeing and hearing the same thing constantly because people are directing it towards the best, like the best blah 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 or blah blah blah. Like they're trying to basically like bring out a version that will always do good. And it's semi-working for a lot of people. But at the end of the day, like if you keep putting it out as the best or whatever, like to get the views, people are just like, I mean, who cares anymore? Right? and I feel so bad that that's happening because brand fatigue is setting in and people are super tired of living in an echo chamber. So I think exactly what you're trying to do as an interviewer is what will come out later to be on top again. I truly believe it.
I hope so.
I truly believe it. I'm very unjaded about that. Like I think that your style of interview will continue to prosper and it will outlive everything that is just clippable.
I appreciate that.
So I'll say like some maybe closing. So what would you want to say to people that you end up wanting to interview? Like what would you want them to present themselves as and how do you want them to be the most authentic version of themselves?
Well, I mean, I feel like just by doing that, I don't want them to present themselves as anything but themselves. You know, come into an interview with your mind open and don't like sit there and be like, oh, I need to be careful of what I say. Like if you say something and you don't want me to put it in there, let me know. You know what I mean? It's like I want them to be comfortable enough to just sit and talk their mind off. You know, like let me know everything that's going through your head, and I will make it even more beautiful than you could have imagined.
Holy, yeah, that's oh my. Okay. I felt that. That's awesome.
That's just I don't know. It's always been such like I've loved writing since I was younger. Like whether it was cheesy diary entries or lyrics or now writing like blogs and interviews and stuff like that. I've always been a writer. Like even in school, the hardest essays that they would give, I would finish it in a matter of minutes just because it's like that is how fast my brain would work when it comes to that.
Yeah.
You know, like my friends would come to me all the time like, oh, I'm so stuck. Like, I don't know what to write on this. And I'm just like, give it to me. I got it. Finish it in 10, 15 minutes. And they look at me like I'm psychotic. And it's like, it's just always been.
Albert Einstein or something. Yeah.
Like, not to brag. No, I'm just kidding. But it's just like, I don't know. It's writing has always been a very, it's just like with music, it's always been an escape for me. It's always been a way that I can get my feelings out without having to say it. Like, yes, it's written down, but when I'm writing, I can take the time to figure out what I want to say. But if I'm speaking it, it doesn't always come out the way I want it to.
Your thesis. Beautiful.
Yes.
Love it.
Thank you.
And then where can we find you? How can we check out everybody that you've interviewed in the past and going forward?
Yeah, so I, like you said, I've been writing on a website called SUBSTACK, and there's also an app that you can download for it. My username is simple, just Cena Haddad, CenaHaddad. It's just my first and last name. And I'm slowly transforming it into the brand called Beyond the Notes. So when you go to Instagram, you can look up Beyond the Notes Media, which is the main page for it, but I'll also post some of my blogs on my personal page as well, just to, get more interaction, which is the same, just my first and last name.
Beautiful. And appreciate you, Reece, for letting us use the studio.
Yes, thank
we'll
you.
also tag him as well. But thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I love this. This is so fun.
Okay. Fine.